This episode of Tech News Weekly is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for a simple payment solution, check out Braintree. With one simple integration, you can offer your customers every way to pay, period. To learn more, and for your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, go to BraintreePayments.com/TNW.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. John Bubb. How you doing, John?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's snowing here today.
Yeah, I just looked at your radar and I was like, holy cow. Like, it's right there on the East Coast and nowhere else.
Yeah, it's so weird. I woke up to a winter wonderland, and it's the kind of snow you enjoy because everything melted from the previous storm, and it was 62 degrees 2 days ago here in New York City. It was like 60 degrees 2 days ago here in New York City. And I woke up, I'm like, oh man, it looks beautiful out. And it's not going to be so beautiful this afternoon when I have to go into Manhattan. That is not going to be a fun trip for me. So that's why we're doing the show early today if you're watching live.
Yeah, but you're getting stuff out of it too, so you have an incentive.
I am getting something out of it. With us once again this week, Mr. Jon Prosser from Front Page Tech. How you doing, John?
I'm not a special guest anymore, am I?
No, you're not a special guest. You're a regular now.
So.
Yeah, you're a regular.
It's whatever when John's on.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to be on? You want to be on? All right, let's do this.
Yeah, it's not the specialness of everything is just kind of worn off, and it just feels icky now.
Listen, I did your show 2 weeks ago.
You did, so now there's definitely nothing special about
it. It was
this.
a smash hit. That's what the kids are saying.
It was a smash hit.
That's what the kids are calling it. That Andrew Zarin, he's a smash hit.
His hair's just so pretty.
His hair's so pretty. Guys, we have a lot to talk about. I have John's on because I want to talk to him about this
Actually, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We were joking about your hair being so pretty, but the people in my community were actually commenting about how pretty your beard was.
Yeah, they were stunned
so
by
that
my
was a
beard.
real thing that was happening.
Is that an age thing? Is it the fact that they can't grow a tremendous,
I think that's it,
manly beard like this?
Yeah, I think that was it. They're like, oh my God, it's beard. It's so manly.
I mean, what they don't know is that I was born with this beard.
Right.
I was born a 22-year-old man with this beard.
Balding with a beard.
Yeah, that's what happened. And then here I am today. I have not aged a bit since the time of my birth in 1984. This is how I came out, and this is how I'll go out. That's what I want on my tombstone.
That's how we came out, now we went
It's
out.
going to be like a picture of you with an engraved beard.
Yeah. Guys, a lot to talk about. I want to talk to John about the whole YouTube copyright debacle with the Fine brothers that's happening. A lot of craziness with that. Your audience maybe knows every detail to that story, but mine probably doesn't. But before we do that, I want to thank our sponsor, and once again, I love thanking them, and that's Braintree. Guys, if you are a web developer, if you're developing an application, if you're developing, if you want to come up with a way to get money for your service, whatever it is, clothing store, services, check out Braintree. That's BraintreePayments.com/TNW. It's BraintreePayments.com/TNW. They accept all different types of payment methods. Companies like Hotel Tonight, Living Social, Uber, the list goes on and on. They all use it. Braintree accepts Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, all major credit cards, and even Bitcoin if you're one of those guys that's using Bitcoin. Guys or gals using Bitcoins. It's simple, secure payments. Code could be integrated in just minutes. Developers, they got you. Don't worry about it. It takes the pain out of developing for developers. I mean, that's the most amazing part of this. SDK's in 7 languages. It's only 10 lines of in-app code, so it's not going to be bloated. It's not going to take up a lot of space. This thing is really well done. The code is really elegant, and it's just there to make it simple for you guys. If you want to accept mobile payments via your application, check out Braintree Payments. BraintreePayments.com/TNW. Try out the sandbox and see for yourself. That's BraintreePayments.com/TNW. I want to thank Braintree for supporting Tech News Weekly and, of course, for supporting the GFQ Network in 2016. This is amazing. I love these guys. They're good people, and we hope that you guys enjoy them too. Give it a shot. BraintreePayments.com/TNW.
No joke. I should add them to frontpagetech.net.
I really think
right
you should.
now, I mean, we accept all sorts of payment methods, but like we had to painstakingly put each and every one in.
Yeah, that is not easy,
and
right?
It's
Not easy
disgusting. Yeah.
at all. Yeah. Thank you.
And then
Braintree.
not only that, not only do you have to get them in, but if there's any sort of maintenance that needs done, that's also a pain in the ass. So
Braintree.
Braintree
They're
sounds
not a
awesome.
pain in the ass. Yeah, they're very. I mean,
that should be the new motto.
that should be the new motto.
Braintree. We're not a pain in the ass.
We're easy. Guys, talking about a pain in the ass, let's talk about what's happening on YouTube to many, many content creators, big and small. I mean, content creators that have under 100 subscriptions, content creators that have virtually nobody watching them and listening to them. They are getting takedown notices. John, you want to touch on this because you are the YouTube guy here.
Yeah. So essentially, what happened was just a big miscommunication between everyone. The Fine Bros, who, if you're not familiar with them,
Can they be the
which are
Fine
with them.
Brothers or Fine Bros?
Fine Brothers, Fine Bros,
Okay.
Whatever. They basically released a video. They thought they were going to. This was a great idea, a great video for everyone, and they were calling it React World. They were going to explain what React World was to the world, and they said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. We do reaction videos, right? They have kids react and elders react and stuff, and they're basically like, here's what they meant to say. I'll start off with that. They meant to say, hey, if you like our format, we see a lot of people kind of using our format and stuff like that. Well, we want to give you a platform. If you want to do react videos, here is how to legally do them, quote unquote, legally do them. Here's how to do them. And we will give you a spot on our channel to do them.
Yeah.
And when you do that, we publish it on our channel, we will both make money. You will get money from this. We will make money.
So they are becoming one of those networks, right? That's pretty much what they're doing? Okay.
And when they did that, when they came up with this idea to be sort of a network, they went ahead and trademarked the word. Well, they put in, they were basically trying to trademark at this point the word react in all caps. So that's what they were trying to do. React, they were trying to trademark because they wanted to become their own little network. They were basically inviting people on the channel. If you want to do things the way we do them, put them on our channel. We will both make money from this.
Yeah.
But they
like
said
they
it
would
in
give
the
you
worst
all the
way.
images that they actually use, right?
Right. It was, we will give you our assets. We will give you the format. We will let you legally use this. In exchange, you put it up on our channel. We both make money.
Okay.
This is how the internet took it. This is how we do React videos. You are not allowed to do React videos unless you have them licensed under us. If you do React videos, we're going to take them down, and we're also going to get a copyright on the, well, sorry, not a copyright, a trademark on the word React. The internet freaked out, and that's what they did. They did actually get, try to get the trademark on the word React. Everyone freaked out for the wrong reasons, and it's because they don't understand any legalities behind this stuff.
But there
Andrew,
were
you
takedowns
would
that
know.
were issued.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Andrew, you would know
including
about
Ellen.
this.
Including
Ellen
Ellen.
did apparently some sort of React video, and they pulled her video down.
Yeah.
Ellen basically did like, I don't know if it was a parody from them, but it was like the format was like exact, and they had a problem with that because she's massive and she didn't like credit them in any way. So obviously they were like butthurt about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of whatever. It was the other like takedowns that happened. Andrew, you would know more about this than a lot of people. Then when they trademarked the word React,
Sure.
they trademarked it in all caps, and there is a difference between trademarking a word and copywriting a word.
Absolutely. You cannot copyright a word.
Right.
You could trademark.
Everyone thought
You could
ahead.
actually just to let everyone. I am not a human lawyer. I have studied bird law, so I could give you what this would be in the bird law in the bird world. When let's say John, I have a pro wrestling group called the Bullet Club. Okay.
okay.
I have shirts that say Bullet Club. It's a stable of wrestlers. It's in pro wrestling. I have the trademark on the Bullet Club. And John now goes and he starts literally a Bullet Club, a gun club called the Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
And he trademarks, the term Bullet Club. you could only trademark it in the venture that you are in.
Right.
You can I can't go after John for having the term Bullet Club. Now, if he tried to manipulate, the common person and convince them that he is me or I am him, that's when you have a legal issue. But you cannot. I could kind of understand what the Fine Brothers have done, what the Fine Bros have done. That this is what they do. People are using their likeness, their style, and producing similar content, and it is misleading people into thinking it is them that is creating the content. So their way around this is saying, hey guys, you can do this, just you got to do it under our umbrella. I understand it. Now, are the takedowns aggressive? I think they're a little bit aggressive, but there's no right or wrong here. The white or black, it's not that kind of issue. It's if John made a set just like this, put the Tech News Weekly on the bottom, had a Starbucks, had the laptop, same exact set, and said, "Oh, I'm Tech News Weekly, but I'm John. I'm not Andrew."
Well, there's two ways of looking at this, and a lot of people have been trying to use analogies for this. And one of the analogies that they're doing is, franchising. Like you have a Wendy's or a Burger King and a McDonald's. They all serve burgers, but you can't create your own McDonald's.
Yeah, you can't have two Big Macs at two different places.
Exact same look.
Yeah, you can't have the Big Mac.
However, you can create a very similar look. For example, whenever there's a parody movie, and they do this all the time in the porn world, where they create these spoofs of actual movies, and they'll have, or like the Asylum films, they'll make the cover, the poster art, look almost identical to the actual movie that they're spoofing.
Do you think there's a Fine Bros porn yet?
Oh, there will be after this. There will be. I mean, listen, as a content creator for you, John, as a content creator for you on YouTube, where do you lie with this? Because this is fascinating. I'm curious on what your opinion is. I have a very different understanding. I was going to be a lawyer and I was going to do stuff like this. So I have a very different understanding of how this stuff works. Legally, I understand what they've done. Do I think it was done in the best way? No, absolutely not. It wasn't done in the best way. But how would content creators feel if they had something that was very successful and other content creators started doing exact copies of them? And possibly, most people listen, I've looked up React videos. I've looked at the Fine Bros videos, and I've gotten other people's video, and I couldn't tell the difference. I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, if you watch a lot of their videos, you'll know who's producing what, but to the average person, they don't know.
Well, you asked me being a YouTuber, what it means to me. I think I'm even a little different because number one, I am a YouTuber, yes, but I report the news, and I have a business, so I understand the legalities in terms of trademarking and stuff. So when they trademarked the word React, it made sense, guys. It made sense for them to do that for their quote unquote network, because that's what you do. If you have a name, you have to legally trademark it in this industry. It's just what has to happen. And the trademark was specifically for entertainment. Like you said, it has to be for a certain genre. And this was placed under the entertainment umbrella, meaning that no one else could trademark the word React in terms of entertainment. And it's not even trademarking the word React. It just because the word is React, it just seems to the internet too generic. It looks like they're just trademarking the word itself, React. Like, oh, I react to this. That's not what they're doing. Not in that context. They're talking about the name of their business being React. It is trademarked. It is like the difference of Tech News Weekly. Okay, trademark the name Tech News Weekly, but what if you didn't ever add weekly? What if it was just Tech News? Then all of a sudden it seems way too generic.
Listen, do you know how many podcasts there are named What the Tech? Contents on YouTube? There's many of them that have come up after me. Yeah, there's a couple of them. A few done by major brands. I think NPR here in New York does a What the Tech, but it's not a podcast. It's a technology-based show. But it's not a podcast. It's like this guy's journey with technology. Listen, I'm not going to go after him because there is zero confusion of what we are. It's not similar. When we started out, You know, we were the Guys from Queens network. We're the Guys from Queens. I got a letter from HBO wanting to know what I am and what I'm doing. Why? Because of Entourage. Because they are the Guys from Queens.
Interesting.
I think
it never nothing came from
really
it, but
poor job of explaining things though.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And they exacerbated that by being aggressive with their takedowns because they said something that was not exactly what they meant, and they backed it up by a very aggressive action that is viewed as extremely negative in the YouTube world. And I think that's where the big problem came in, is that they did start doing these takedowns, and a lot of people felt that these React videos just are not unique enough. There's nothing unique about React videos to make it something that's copyrighted or trademarked. So
right,
why they would go after somebody that even uses the word React in the title of the video is what a lot of people are afraid of.
I'm stuck on this because I understand what happened. I understand that it was a huge miscommunication. It was very poorly communicated from the Fine Bros. They thought in their head that you could tell by just watching the video, they thought it was this positive thing. Hey, we can all do React videos. But it came across super arrogant. They said everything completely wrong.
Yeah.
And then, like, when I'm like, oh, well, they just said it wrong. It was miscommunicated. But even after that miscommunication, with all of the internet backfiring on them, it was like, I mean, you can't just come back and make another video and be like, oops, this is what we really meant.
Yeah.
You can't do that at this point.
Yeah.
And they themselves weren't even issuing the takedowns. It was their network, which is Full Screen. Disclaimer, Front Page Tech was with them for 2 years. We're not anymore for good reason. But it was Full Screen issuing the takedown. So that's what leaves you wondering, well, is it the Fine Bros asking for this to happen? Or is it Full Screen? And why are they so aggressive about it? Like Andrew said, it was people with like 100 subscribers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
what is... You already have this issue of aggressive takedowns on YouTube. A lot of people have been complaining over the past, 3 weeks.
Well,
that
with
YouTube
the Japanese
has gotten even more aggressive with their takedowns.
Well, with the video game, right? The video game guys and the anime guys. I mean, like practically.
Well, just this past week, there was Eli, the computer guy, and Awesome Channel had stuff with their YouTube channel that they had to sort out, and it took a week or two for it to be sorted out. And half the problem is you just don't get enough information from YouTube about why this takedown is happening and how to resolve it in a timely manner.
I can better explain it. YouTube doesn't give you any really good information, but just from reporting the news, this is what the pattern is. This is what happens. You have Content ID, which is the system that automatically, as soon as you upload a video, like almost before it's done processing, will have already gone through your video, and it looks for certain waveforms in the audio, certain visuals in your video, obviously, and can automatically detect something that is already claimed by another company.
Sure.
Now, when they change these rules within the algorithm, that's when everyone goes a little bit crazy, because then it looks like there's all sorts of claims going on manually.
Well, you do have manual claims. That does happen.
Say what?
There are manual claims, and
there are definitely manual claims. Yes.
So I'll give you an example. Over the summer, I went to a wrestling show for this company, Ring of Honor, which we personally have a very good relationship with, the company itself.
Right.
After the pay-per-view was over, I took a video of a speech that was given in the ring. It's about 2 minutes. And I took the crowd, I shot the crowd. The video got like 30,000 views. It got like something tremendous. I put it on my Matman channel. It was fine for a couple months, and all of a sudden, I got a strike, and it was like such a severe strike because it was a personal takedown.
Right.
They locked my channel. That was it. I tried to appeal it, no answer. So what I actually had to do, I had to email the takedown guy personally. His name was Neil, and he has like this company that's all they do. They have clients, and he manually goes and he looks for videos and he does takedowns for them.
Right. And that's like, I mean, like you said, it was so severe because it was like a manual takedown, and it all depends on the claim. And the problem is, YouTube will not communicate back with you unless you have, by some miracle, you have a contact at YouTube. They are not going to work with you to resolve this. You have to talk to okay, that's Andrew. It's good that you mentioned that, because now, if you anyone listening, if you are a YouTuber, if you get any claims, now you know. Do not try to contact YouTube. You have to keep in mind, YouTube is only trying to protect themselves. And when there's a claim, you are now a risk. They're not going to work with you to resolve your problem. You have now become YouTube's problem, and they are not going to lose money because of you. So don't contact YouTube. You have to find and contact the person that issued the claim in the first place.
Well, how do you find that information?
It tells you. So if there's a claim, you basically get an email from YouTube. And it says, hey, this video was claimed by this, right around this. They'll give you a timestamp of wherever they thought you infringed on anyone's rights. They'll give you the timestamp, and they'll give you the company or the person that issued the claim. You'll always know who issued the claim. The problem is YouTube says, do you disagree? Because you can go ahead and dispute this, but it's a button to go send a little contact form to YouTube, which is not going to work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And there's a lot of times where people will go ahead and try to dispute the claim directly to YouTube. And instead of even working with the person, what YouTube will do is deny it, which then completely shuts down that YouTube channel. It could terminate it. They could get rid of all monetization rights. You could lose a lot of features within YouTube on that channel. It's a mess. So you have to contact the person that issued the claim so they can manually take it back.
You got that, John?
That's a mess.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, this is the cool thing, right? Okay, so this is the cool thing. When you look at where we are right now, this is still in the infancy of YouTube. This is still happening. With things like this that happen, it will only make YouTube better because they will realize their flaws with their service, with the way that it works.
Right.
It's only going to get better. We are all new to this.
And see, I don't share that same opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a little bit more cynical in that I don't believe that YouTube will necessarily get better, because the pattern that I've seen is that YouTube is getting worse.
YouTube will only get better when there's another service that can readily compete with YouTube. Once they feel threatened, then they'll start to work for the creators.
Well, I mean, look at Dailymotion, right?
They've tried.
They tried. Dailymotion tried. That didn't work. Vessel has tried. That really hasn't worked. It is hard to get millions and millions of people worldwide to say, hey, I like this new service. What's in it for me? YouTube became YouTube because there was nothing like it. Nothing to the extent that anybody could upload a video and anybody could get tens of thousands of views. That did not exist at all. So how do you create another platform that's going to entice people? I don't think bringing, the iJustines and the big YouTube names over the last couple of years over to your service is what's going to do it. I think it's the everyday BS video that goes up on YouTube. Those are the guys that are going to drive your service. So until another service provider comes up with a great way to entice those people to go over there and use their service, this is what it is.
Oh, by the way, before we move on from the story, we completely forgot to let everyone know that the Fine Bros have changed their mind. They completely backtracked. Basically, they sent out a statement saying, oops, we miscommunicated this. We understand why everyone's so upset. They rescinded their trademark. They are apparently taking back all Content ID claims, but we don't know to what extent. I highly doubt they're taking back any claim that has ever been made on their behalf ever. Probably just a few recent ones that Fullscreen made in terms of this, if they even took any of them back. But they said they hope their actions speak louder than words, and they apologize for it, and they're taking it all back. But at this point, they've already lost like 600,000 subscribers. I mean, granted, that's out of 14 million.
Yeah, out of 14 million,
that's still a dent, and there's already a bad taste in everyone's mouths over this. So it's gonna. Andrew, do you think they could? Do you think they could fix this and just continue doing what they're doing?
No, people have short-term memory. They'll forget about this in about 3-4 months, and they'll put out a new React video that Jimmy Kimmel sponsors or something, and they'll get a whole new plethora of housewives that think it's funny. That's how it works. Welcome to Marketing 101. Just get the housewives and you're good. Hey, Suncast, why don't you pick a story here?
So I want to talk about this iPhone 5 SE story. There's
Yeah.
a rumor that the iPhone 5 SE and iPad Air 3 might be unveiled at a March 15th Apple event. We've heard a lot of rumors over the past month about this iPhone 5 SE or iPhone 6C. We're not exactly sure what it's going to be called, but the rumor is that it's going to be similar to the iPhone 6 in terms of the hardware capability, so that you have this always-on Siri without needing for it to be plugged in. And it's also going to have live photo support and NFC chip for Apple Pay.
Yeah. Apple may also have another tablet, a 9.7-inch iPad Air on the deck. The new Air model reportedly has a smart connector for attaching a keyboard, just like the iPad Pro. The company is also expected to show off a new Apple Watch bands and next generation
Nobody
software,
cares.
but no major hardware overhaul. This is lackluster. I mean, really, I don't. I was talking to Paul about this, and we were talking about how tablets have become a thing of the past. For the first couple of years, everybody was getting a new iPad every year. I mean, literally, the new iPad would come out, and you would go and get it, or every other year at least. I have the iPad Air right here, and I have zero reason to go get another one. I don't even know if I can't think of anything that they could do to make me want to get an iPad.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a thing of the past. It's just that we don't need to upgrade them nearly as
It's over,
frequently.
John. It's over.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Tablets are gone. We
Throw
need
them all
something
away.
new. No, you're absolutely right. We don't need to upgrade them as fast. And even if we do, people aren't jumping and upgrading as fast as they can. Because, listen, the cool factor's gone. It's not the new hot thing anymore. Spending $500 every 2 years on this.
Well, it's not only that. I think
It's a
there's device fatigue at this point, because speaking personally, I'm at that point where I'm almost sick and tired of these announcements every single year, and it's gotten to the point where we're oversaturated with these announcements. Every month there seems to be these announcements that amount to almost nothing really new, especially with Apple, because they started out doing this thing where it was extremely neat and novel, and now they've done it so many times that people aren't paying much attention anymore, and
Honestly,
they're just making changes that are more incremental, and they're not as revolutionary. I mean,
I
they're
have a
still
question for
neat,
both of you.
but it's one of those things that do people really care about a 4-inch iPhone being unveiled?
Here's a question for both of you, and I'll talk about the iPhone in a second. But do you think that it would make sense for the two of you? I mean, this is just assuming that you buy iPads. If Apple, instead of doing this annually, released a new iPad every other year, would that be more interesting to you?
No.
No.
It released it every other year. Yeah, I think they're gonna have to do that. I think the answer to a lot of these devices is a leasing program. When you talk about this, I could justify paying Apple, $250 every year or $300 every year in a lease, and you constantly upgrade to the latest and the greatest, and this keeps a revolving door of product sales and income coming their way. I think that works. I think the PC industry, that's going to be the future of it, much like a cell phone. They're going to have to go over to that. I know someone that does the Apple business thing, and every 2 years he gives his laptop in and he gets a brand new one. You can do that with Apple business.
That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where the technology and everything has changed, because we've seen like 7 years of this now, where we started out, those first 4 years of the iPhone, dramatically different than the last 3 years of the iPhone being unveiled. If you take that into account, you look at, that all the way up to the iPhone 4 and 4S. After the 4S, once the iPhone 5 came out, that's when things started to really go downhill, I think, in terms of interest in these types of events and devices.
Listen, the devices, they're selling more devices than ever, but it's again, they have more devices than ever now, right? They have they have 3 or 4 of the same device on the market now.
And that goes to my point on there being too much device saturation. You're talking about all these devices that it's at this point now where it's like, oh, it's another one. Where it's become the norm.
Yeah. So who is
the
this?
new Apple? The new Apple is really trying to cater to all the markets, like as opposed to when, I mean, I hate to say this, but when Steve Jobs was in charge, it was more like he had a vision. Here's where Apple's going to go. The world will adapt. Our customers will adapt to this. Now the newer Apple is Apple will adapt. You have little small hands here. We'll give you a little small phone. Here you go. Will you pay money for this? Because we'll make it. We'll totally make it. We have billions and billions of dollars. We will spend a little bit of money and make a smaller device for your little hands.
So what do you think of that? Do you think that's the right approach, John? That they are, and I'll go to Suncast first, and I'll go to John. That they are now catering to the group of people that haven't upgraded. You know, I think they say 40 or 60% of people have not moved up to their new iPhone. Well, a lot of them are for a lot of other reasons, not just because they have tiny little hands with tiny little fingers, but you know, are they playing into the weird stigma that exists that, you know, and you've seen it online, that women don't want a big phone, so women aren't buying the iPhone 6. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there are plenty of people around that do not want to get the big phone because they think it's too big. And once they get the bigger phone, they go, wow, this is it. This is cool. So I don't think that's a stigma that's real. Once people use it, you know, it has to do with the thing of change. Is it slowing the progression of growing your phone and bettering your phone if you're going to say, oh, okay, you guys want a tiny little phone? Okay, we'll make that for you guys. Don't worry about it. Suncast.
I think it's this technology. If you look at the same type of stuff that's going on in the PC market, you're seeing this slowdown. And I think we're starting to see that same thing, this slowdown in technology, where we've kind of reached a plateau of sorts in technology where, yes, we can do these incremental things. It's not going to be revolutionary like we saw all the way up to the iPhone 4S.
Yeah.
It's just not, because once after the iPhone 4S, it was everything has been extremely incremental in terms of changes to the technology. Yes, we're always going to get, you know, these incremental hardware updates, but it's not going to be that, oh, wow, holy cow, this is so much better than what we had last year. That's just what it comes down to. And Apple, I think, in a way, is doing the same business that everybody else is doing, where they're trying to get into these new emerging markets. And that's where they're trying to make sure that they can have this cash grab from every single market that they possibly can.
Yeah. I don't know. How about you, John? What do you think?
I don't want to disagree with Suncast.
Disagree if you feel like disagreeing.
No, I think he's right when he said that everything's becoming incremental in pretty much every market now. But with Apple specifically, we've been seeing this for years, and now we're seeing more companies adapt to this sort of mindset, and that is too much change is a bad thing.
Yeah.
When too much change too fast will turn people away. Look at BlackBerry, perfect example. They made too big of changes way too quickly, and even their most dedicated customers were like, "Well, this doesn't feel like BlackBerry anymore," and they left. If Apple is really good at selling an iPhone and then months later getting those same people to camp outside and wait to buy the new phone, because they're so dedicated. And because it's so familiar. Every phone that they release is familiar. It doesn't feel like a massive change. It's new hardware, yes, but you aren't confused by it. You don't have to relearn it. It's familiar. And that's why I believe too much change too quickly for the average consumer is too much for them. For people like us, yeah, I love messing with new stuff. I think that's awesome. I love learning new stuff about new devices, new hardware. But the average consumer does not want to relearn and rethink how they use a device every single year. It happened with Windows. Windows is a perfect example.
Perfect example, yeah.
We had XP, Vista 7, very, very similar. Like the UI changes, stuff like that. But I mean, it was pretty similar. New features introduced here and there. And then Windows 8, complete shift in how you used the platform. Windows
I thought
8,
you were going to say something else.
Yeah, I thought you were going to complete the other word, which would have been accurate.
Windows 8 was kind of bad, but I mean it was only kind of bad because of how big of a change it was. People weren't used to using Windows like that, and they took a bunch of stuff away. When they did that and they made that change, Everyone freaked out because just think about the average person using Windows every day. Now they don't know how to use their computer. Too much change too quickly in something that millions of people are using. Put that concept into devices themselves. Too much change too quickly is going to turn people away, even dedicated customers, and that is why everything is incremental now. Apple's been doing it for years, and we're going to see. I think John's right in saying that we're going to see more and more of those with everyone else, pretty much.
Very good discussion there, boys. Really enjoyed that one.
Yes.
Very, very good. I give that one a minus.
Can we get like
A minus?
10 GFQ points?
10 GFQ points right there. Also, since we're on the phone topic, why don't we talk about another phone that's about to come out, and that is a Samsung S7. See, they're doing something different. They're streamlining a little bit. The most recent rumors point that the Galaxy S7 will retain the Galaxy S6 design, feature a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 chip using a liquid cooling heat pipe system, and integrated with pressure-sensitive display. Interestingly, it's also rumored that the Galaxy S7 will drop to a 12-megapixel camera, but it's going to have much better, sensors and aperture. It's going to have a lot of that. Also, larger battery life. They're going to have the S7 and S7, the one with the curved display.
Edge.
The Edge. It's going to be coming out. I think we're going to get it unveiled on February 21st. The Edge is going to be a 5.5-inch display, and the regular one is going to be a 5.2-inch display, similar to this. No major changes when it comes to that. I'm actually looking forward to this because I like the S6. It's a wonderful phone, and the S7, if everything is pointing in the right direction, it's going to be even better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
This one was easy because Samsung's doing the right thing here. We were just talking about Apple making weird choices and these companies making incremental updates. It's nice to see Samsung simply listening. They did something really good with the S6 and the S6 Edge. They nailed design, which is the first time I can say that about Samsung because every Samsung phone has literally been a garbage can.
The S5 was, I think the
hardware
S4
design.
was better, and then the S5 was a disaster for a lot of people.
Yeah, and they're always this is okay, John. I can confirm you are completely correct here. If we look at the history of Galaxy devices, you know they shoved so much stuff into each phone, and they would put out these marketing campaigns and commercials making fun of the iPhone because you can now pause videos with your freaking eyeballs with the Samsung Galaxy because they're just throwing all kinds of features that are completely unnecessary. They're moving too fast, and it was too much change. These past couple years, they've really settled down. Said, okay, hey, people hate these paying $750 for a plastic piece of hardware. Let's actually pay attention to the design. So they did, and they made a great aesthetic hardware design.
Yeah.
Now they did that, so people liked it. You nailed it. Bring it over to the next one. And if you have to I like how they're actually stepping back on a couple of things to actually make it better. Normal Samsung 2 years ago would have shoved a 24 megapixel camera in this thing. Now they're like, okay, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Let's just make it a better sensor experience. Let's put a better sensor in this. This is a perfect example with
great
the
example.
iPhone, with like the iPhone 4, 4S, 5S. They all had 8 megapixel cameras in them, and everyone's like, well, we're years ahead. Why everyone else has a 12 megapixel camera? What are you doing? And the iPhone took some of the best photos. The sensor was just better. Megapixels are not the whole story.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not about the megapixels, it's about the sensors. And let's see what they're going to be doing with this one. Another headline.
A very good point.
What?
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, very good point. I think everybody likes the big numbers, but in reality, it comes down to what the sensor is and what the chipset is. You look at
basically Samsung is now backing off of all these novel and gimmicky type of things that they would throw into their devices.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. I mean, you're absolutely right though. John hit the nail, and there was a sensor for everything. I mean, there was an eye thing, there was a foot thing. I mean, it was the most insane thing ever. And these phones got really bogged down with the bloatware and the software that Samsung was putting on there. And
every time you blink, a video freezes.
Yeah, you could freeze your video with blinks. It's ridiculous. Talking about. Let's take a moment and talk about something coming back, and that's Circuit City. Apparently, it's coming back.
I did not know this.
Yeah, according to the Twice, a publication that covers tech industry news, Circuit City is preparing for a return. Naturally, Circuit City plans to look different this time around. The new store is expected to target millennials. I don't know if millennials are shopping in stores. Featuring millennial design aesthetics inside and products such as 3D printers and drones and smartphones and tablets and headphones. The owner said the goal is to have 50 to 100 corporate-owned locations plus 100 to 200 franchise locations. CircuitCity.com does work, guys. If you go to CircuitCity.com, you can buy stuff there.
Can you bring up the photograph, the rendering of the store that they have in the article?
Oh, I don't think I can.
Because I got this story off Engadget.
If you message it to me to the hotline, I could do it.
Okay, let me see if I can find this then.
This is interesting. I wonder if it's just because like there's room for it now because Radio Shack's gone.
I guess so, right? I mean, can we bring back Comp USA? Let's do all of it. You know, I actually do miss Radio Shack.
Oh my God!
Where else could you buy insurance for your batteries?
I mean, it was like
I sent it to you.
I mean,
okay.
I completely understand why Radio Shack didn't survive. Completely understand it, but at the same time, for people like us, it was perfect. You could literally, it was for those weird little adapters that you need at last minute, where you can't just go on Amazon and buy it because you're not living at Andrew's house and can get Amazon deliveries in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This is like, I needed some weird adapter for some weird cable, and you just walk into Radio Shack and they have it. It was a beautiful thing.
Here is the rendering for
all right,
people.
Yeah, can you look at the inside store, the one that's right below that?
Yeah.
What?
Now,
is it an Apple
looking
store?
at this, yeah, it looks
just
quite
like
a bit like an Apple or Microsoft store.
Yeah, it does.
It looks more like a boutique retailer type of place. It doesn't look like the Best Buy that you would see today or the Circuit City of yesteryear. It looks like an Apple or Microsoft store.
It does.
And I think in this sense, they might be onto something.
They might be.
Yeah.
They're going to try
streamlined.
something completely different here. They're not going to try and compete with Best Buy. And I think trying to compete with Best Buy would be a losing strategy today.
I think Best Buy is
like
a losing strategy against Best Buy. I mean, these big box retailers are having a very difficult time surviving.
Well,
Yeah,
because
I
they're
mean, look,
selling
you
everything-
have Office Depot, you have Staples. They already compete with Best Buy. You don't need Circuit City coming back and competing. There's not enough space there in the market for yet another player. So what they're doing in terms of having more of a boutique retail space where they're focusing on more of a niche and they're focusing more on the type of products that you would see at an Apple or Microsoft store, I think is an extremely smart strategy for coming back.
Oh, it's for sure. When you guys started talking about it on the show, I was like, it's kind of goofy. But now, with your point being made and seeing the pictures, it makes a lot more sense because, I mean, Andrew said, Best Buy's having enough trouble just keeping Best Buy going. They're offering anything and everything in their store. I mean, you walk in, you can still get like DVDs from 2007. And I like this. It's much more, you walk in, it's streamlined. Hey, this is what we have to sell. This is what we want to sell. If you want to buy it, cool. If you want to go buy those weird DVDs, go ahead and go to Best Buy.
It's almost like what Radio Shack should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem, you know what the problem
when
with Radio Shack was?
They revamped their stuff.
They remember, Radio Shack had smaller storefronts. So
Yeah, and this does look smaller.
it does look smaller. Yeah, it does look smaller.
It
Interesting.
looks like about the size of a Microsoft or Apple store.
Yeah.
It looks very similar in setup.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, boys and girls.
Microsoft stores and Apple stores seem to be doing pretty good. So
Talking about
why not?
Microsoft.
why not go with that sort of retail space? This is something that I think is very smart the way that they're doing this. And I think it could be successful. Only time will tell, but I think the way they're going about it is extremely smart.
Since we're on the topic of Microsoft, I have to get going because I have a meeting.
With Microsoft?
I'm not saying with who, John. I'm not saying with who. Yeah, I gotta get going. But interesting. I mean, I'm curious as to if they survive with this new idea. 50 to 100 stores. I mean, that's a lot. So let's see where they put them. I wonder if they're going to be a major market.
Yeah, the first one is launching in Dallas, Texas in June.
Okay. Oh, so very soon.
That's not that far away either.
Yeah.
No.
Very interesting. All right, boys and girls. Go to our website, gfknetwork.com. check us out there if you want to support the show. Go to patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us there. Use our Amazon link whenever you buy something on Amazon. Go to gfq.co/Amazon, bookmark it, and when you buy something, we got a tiny little credit. Jon Prosser, Front Page Tech, doing a show almost every single day.
In a couple
You got
hours,
a new show coming out, too,
today.
next week, don't you?
Oh, you got a new show coming out.
I've told you about Matt Philly and Pimp My Setup and all that stuff.
Yes.
Him and I, it started off as a joke between the Front Page Tech community, Suncast included, that we start a podcast together, and next week we're actually doing it.
And what is it going to be called?
Again, I don't know who came up with this. It was a joke within the Front Page Tech community. Average White Kids.
Average White Kids. That's a great name.
Doing it.
It's a brilliant name, actually.
AverageWhiteKids.com is where you can find more information on that. We're starting next Friday, I believe.
AverageWhiteKids.com next Friday. Suncast. You can find him on Twitter at Suncast. He also produces, he edits, he engineers everything here at the GFQ Network. He does it all. So if you need any services when it comes to web work,
he's launching 100 new Circuit Cities.
He's actually launching all the Circuit Cities manually himself. They'll be up and running in June, so you can catch it there.
Be rich.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarin. Of course, you can follow the GFQ Network, and we'll be back next week. Take care.